Hello and welcome back to another Instagram Live and Artist Stories. I'm Tara Wahab, founder of Louder Society. Louder Society is a nonprofit organization that enhances health through art and creativity. We've been operating in the city of Calgary since 2015, and throughout this time we have provided several different public art projects, programs, and events, for which we have received very positive feedback so far. Today we have another amazing artist that we will be introducing to you, Aisha Celestino. And while she's going to join us and other people are going to join us, I'm just going to play the music by one of the artists that we have interviewed in the past, Rebecca Ems, and this song is called Cult Leader. Hi.
Just did this way, feeling so estranged from the world, run from me. Now we're victims of ourselves. We're a new kind of disease and we'll cure you of all your misery. I'll jump off the stage for you. I'll do anything you want me to. I'll jump off the stage for you. I'll live or die for we could watch them choking down like a pill. Get it all for your life. True.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, good.
Is it a bit dark? Here, I'm gonna put the light on.
Oh.
I'll jump off the stage for you. I'll do anything you want me to. I'll jump off the stage for you.
All right. Hi, Aisha. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So without any further ado, I guess I'm just going to jump right in and start my questions. Please go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where are you from? Where are you living right now? What kind of art is it that you're making?
Yeah, so I'm actually in Calgary at the moment, but I have actually moved to the UK. I'm living in a small little seaside town called Folkestone, and it is wonderful over there. Very inspiring. Lots of artists, very many artists. And what's this called? I've only been making art for about like 2 years since, and have been into just one gallery within my whole career so far. So it's been quite phenomenal. I feel very, very lucky.
Nice. So how long is it that you have been doing your art? Like, when did you start? You said that 2 years, but is it where you started, or this is the time that you started more seriously?
So I actually got into art like in university. I was doing communications, and one of my friends, Ethel, she's amazing in art.
Yeah.
And she's one of the people that actually inspired me to get into it quite a bit. And it was kind of a weird. They kept telling me, just pick up a paintbrush, see what you can do. And I have such a hard head, so I didn't do it until 2 years ago. And it's been amazing since. And I've done a lot of. I've worked quite hard trying to get all the techniques down, holding like trying to like practice holding like 5 brushes in the same hand while blending. But yeah, it's been really phenomenal. I'm really, really happy so far.
That's great. Although I haven't tried to hold 5 brushes yet. Those are new techniques I'm hearing about, but I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, definitely. It's really, really hard. I'm a very clumsy person, so it's just like I just hold it all in one hand, and I'm like just hoping for the best. Like, don't fall out. Just stay.
Great. So what kind of art is it that you're making? Are you doing painting primarily, illustrations? What would you name it?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm my primary thing is paintings. I am working on my visa to get work back in England, and I'm actually going to go to like a bunch of galleries. I'm finding an agent at the moment, so hopefully it does bode well. They did say I needed more paintings. So that's just been like what I've been doing here, like as I'm waiting for my visa, just kind of like staying in the house, you know, keeping safe from COVID, and just making my parents crazy with all like the paint on the ground, and sometimes a little bit on the furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you know, the focus of our organization is on the health benefits that practicing a form of art and creativity can have for us. Do you believe that your art practice, even though it was in a short period of time, has any effects on your health at all?
Yes, actually, like a very arts have been a very, very big aspect in my mental health. I've actually, when I was in school, when I was, you know, studying, I actually had very severe social anxiety. And I found that I couldn't really express myself with my words. I found that I would feel really like really inept, or I would find myself feeling really almost kind of, I would ruminate a lot. And when I actually picked up the paintbrush, it was like, as I mentioned, my friends told me to do some paintings, but I was going into counseling, and they said, you know, you have a lack of expression, and you need to find a way to express yourself. And I came from being really, really like scared of everything, really terrified of the world. And as I started painting, people found that I got calmer. And I wasn't as nervy as I used to be. So about like 2 years ago, I was like stuttering constantly. I couldn't really talk. And now that I'm able to do, you know, like pieces where I can express like sadness, anger, you know, awe or inspiration, I found that it made me more of a balanced person, and actually made me feel confident in what I can do in the world. And it's so far-fetched from like wanting to be a lawyer, but it did help a lot. Really, really helped.
That's interesting. I'm actually making some notes here.
Yeah.
So you wanted to become a lawyer, and but you were in communications, and then
Yeah,
you ended up into art because it was helping you so much.
definitely.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. You know what? I know somebody, a singer, actually said once that, I don't remember her name, but she said that I wanted to have a kind of a position in the world, as a job, as a career, that I could, you know, not just express myself, but prove something. And I felt like that's either a lawyer or being an artist. I don't know. At the time I was hearing it, I couldn't really find a relationship between those two. But it does kind of make sense, because I think it takes a lot of courage to be in arts. A lot of courage. At the beginning, it might be fun, you know, like family, friends do encourage you a little bit, you know, they give you good feedbacks. But staying in it for a long time, it takes a real courage to be there, to make a career out of it, even, you know. Whereas with, you know, other professions, let's say lawyer, yes, you go through maybe a difficult time schooling, but then after that, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there are always clients. There are always people who want to complain. There are always people who need to, you know, figure out their rights. And need somebody to defend them. But when it comes to art, it's always, it's just very gray area. Nobody knows what exactly the role of art in the society and what the role of an artist is and what is it that they're doing. It's extremely important, but yet at the same time it's quite invisible. So I really admire the kind of, decision that you have made with your life. So, and I'm really looking forward to see how far you can go with this.
Thank you. I'm very excited to do this.
Nice. So, what is the theme of your artworks? Does it have a theme? And how many pieces have you made so far?
My art, it's I've always looked at Salvador Dali, looked at Tanya Shatsiva, like many like different surrealistic artists. And I've always had this like really big imagination that I couldn't really put forth into words. And so the more I paint, it went from realism to like a more surrealistic kind of view. I wanted people to understand the emotions that kind of like came into my mind, or like I also like I thought of paintings as like a metaphor of what I felt, and I've always wanted to kind of like communicate that to people. But now that I have a paintbrush and a canvas, I think it actually comes out quite nicely. And it gives me a lot of more confidence in the doing more surrealistic work rather than realistic, because there's certain things like I'm still kind of figuring out as I do art. Yeah. And it's kind of been like such a big learning curve for me. So when it comes to surrealism, anything that comes to mind, like it's like just doing poetry on a canvas. And I've actually done like maybe less than 20 pieces so far. It goes from like how I used to be like as a watercolor or a watercolor painter to now like acrylic. So it's just kind of like a chronological thing, my portfolio. So you could see where I like began to where I am now, which is really, really nice.
Nice. So would you like to show us some of your artwork? I see you have a painting behind you there.
Yeah, actually, so this is my father that I made. This is his face. We kind of did it like one morning because we were just bored. And this is actually the piece that got me in a gallery. This one was my first piece. I was incredibly nervous to show it to anybody. And this is when I wasn't very confident in what I can do. And this piece ended up getting me into a downtown gallery here in Calgary. And it really, it's very sentimental to me. And I've actually just given it to my parents so that they could keep it safe, keep it nice and clean. And this one is my acrylic work that I've done. Yeah, I was feeling kind of, I guess, like a little sad that day. So I gave her a little tear, but I've also been looking at color theory and trying to like just study it. So this is one of my my study cases. And yeah.
Beautiful. It's interesting that although it's a portrait, you have painted it horizontally and not vertically. Most of the portraits will go vertical. That's nice. Beautiful. So, would you like to collaborate with other artists?
Oh, 100%. I would most definitely love to collaborate with any artist. I think any collaboration is kind of like a fountain of knowledge. So if I'm able to like collaborate and just get to know how they do certain things, or like how they themselves, like another artist sees color and color theory and how they would kind of put it together, I would love to just pick their brains and as we're doing something side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So what is your perspective on art and creativity?
I think creativity is what makes things poetry. It the more you put things into perspective, creativity really puts it shows what you really feel, And through a metaphoric state, it really shows how you can put things together. Like perspective in itself is creativity. What you see and how you put it on like a canvas is creativity in itself. And yeah, like it is, creativity is what kind of like, it shows the heart. It really shows the heart. So I think it's very, very important to have it.
Nice. And
Yeah.
would you say that art is separate from creativity in your perspective, or you see them both together?
Yeah. I think art, like it is very different from creativity. I think creativity gives it more depth. When you have art, like if you make like a person's face, that is art in itself. But to have something a little more deeper of a meaning within your painting, I think that in itself is creativity. They're very, very different things to me in my perspective. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, are you working on anything right now? Any new projects?
I actually am working on a comic manuscript. I've always been really, really into comics, and I've seen things like on Webtoon, like Minerva's Therapy, and seen just like different mangas, like Junji Ito, and so I kind of want to put my communications into work and actually put it into like an art sort of perspective where people can see what's going on and tell a story through like my drawings. And yeah, so I'm really excited to actually get that going. And once I get back to England, within a month, I'm going to have it all done and ready. And I'm just very excited for everybody to see it.
Interesting. So what is going to be the storyline of that?
The storyline, it's I don't know if anybody's anybody on here seeing this interview have seen Mortal Instruments or like Hunger Games. It's going to be within that kind of theme. So there's a lot of magic, a lot of girl power, a lot of fighting for your beliefs and your freedom, and it's just kind of like an ode to feminism and the heart of a woman, because we're not all just like here to look beautiful. We're there to fight for the world. We're there to like really get our grip and kind of just like show what we as women can do. And that's what the comic's just going to be about. Yeah.
That's really interesting, because that was the kind of feeling I got from viewing your artworks before we start the conversation here. And I was going to ask you about that, whether you do consider your art feministic or not. And so it's interesting that you are thinking about it, and it is showing through your other works. I'm really excited to know about the comic once it's out, because I think that's really important. I myself do a lot of work in those kind of areas too, and I feel the same when it comes to women's role in this world and what do we do. And yeah, you're right. We're not just pretty things sitting and or remain pretty or just even giving birth. These are all the things that women have been doing for centuries. It's not that it's anything new, but even for those, I don't think they are still getting enough credit for it. They just don't.
Oh, definitely.
And I do accept that there are women that do take advantage too. I'm not saying that all women are victimized and they are in a tough situation, but still the world is very, very male dominated, regardless of how we
I completely agree with that. Yeah. Like I come from a culture as well where you kind of have to just look delicate. You are very you sit there, you look pretty, and you speak when you're spoken to. So I think that actually came into like my art, where I wanted to express myself a little more instead of being kind of quiet. I wanted to be like, no, this is who I am, and I wanted that freedom. And there's things like Jo March from like Little Women, who I know she's a fictional character, but I aspire to be that woman so badly, because she is just so liberated from her own sex, and she doesn't care. She's like, she's got a male mind, and she doesn't care who knows, especially at a time where women were just supposed to, just dance and just look merry, and that's it. Yeah.
I'm glad that we are on the same page on that.
Me too.
So now that we're talking about that, I know you said that you were a little bit inspired by Ethel and then some of your friends. But for your art, also you said about Salvador Dali. But like, who else were you inspired by, or maybe who encouraged you the most for your art?
I have one friend. She's an amazing artist. She's very realistic. Her name is art_by_Andrea.
Okay.
She's Cypriot Greek, and she is phenomenal at what she does. And she's actually inspired me to do more art. Like she's like, just get off your butt and like, just paint, just keep painting, just keep painting. And the other person, she's actually quite famous. Her name's Tanya Shatsiva. She is a Russian artist, and her life story has been so amazing to me. She's a self-made artist, and she didn't really have any. I'm not sure if she had any classical training, but it seems like she hasn't.
No.
And the thing that she does is super surrealistic. And though she can't really express herself through words most of the time, she really expresses it through like the emotions of the people she paints, through the environment that they're in, and creates such phenomenal things. Like she even had like a woman who was making her own crown with marbles that came out of her mouth. And I aspire to become that kind of artist, to like take nothing and make it into something that people think about and people kind of like gaze at, and they don't just say, oh, this is pretty. They go, what the hell is happening in this? Like, what is going on?
That's great.
Yeah.
What are your recommendations for those people who want to start making art, but they haven't yet?
I would say I never started making art because I listened to a lot of what other people said to me. They kind of told me what I should do in life, and I listened to them for a very, very long time. And now that I'm 27, I keep thinking about it, and I keep trying to go back in time, being like, why did I do this? Because I could be so much better than what I am now. But so I would say, do not listen to anyone. Whatever anybody tells you, do what comes from the heart, because that's where you're going to really be happy. And especially when it comes to art and painting or doing whatever it is you do as a visual artist, I think anything that anybody has to say, unless it really resonates with you, should mean nothing. Anything that comes from you should really be what you go with.
True. I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always. So my next question to you is that if you could change anything about yourself, what would that be?
Well, definitely, I would love to focus a lot more. When I'm painting, it's kind of like a little bit of a gong show. I would be painting, and then like 10 minutes later, I'm like dancing a little bit, or like I'm like reading a book or going outside. Like I'm almost like ADHD. So I would love to change that part, and I would just like to sit down and be able to make a painting and like actually have like my deadlines all like perfectly done and not like all shaky.
It sounds like you're being actually really healthy.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're doing any creative work, it's very easy to just lose the track of time. You just get all drowned in the work pretty much. You don't realize how much time is passing by. And some artists are actually saying that, you know, I find it that it's actually unhealthy, because after that, you know, long hours of doing this kind of work, or sitting painting or standing painting or doing this or that, then I have neck pain, and I have you know, pains in different areas in the body. So I think you're actually not practicing it very safely. So you need to get up, you need to take a stretch, you know, you need to take a break in between. So it sounds like you're being very healthy. It's not ADHD, and it's only when you do,
So good to hear.
yeah, you know, make a business out of it. And yes, there are deadlines, and you're like, well, I have to have the X amount of number ready to go, and you know, and I don't have enough time. That's why I think maybe we should give ourselves enough realistic time frame for the work that we do.
Mhm.
So
Definitely.
we don't end up burning out ourselves, because at the end of it, you're gonna get so tired. You're like, okay, it's gonna feel even more difficult than the, I don't know, the retail job that you had probably. Okay, I think I'm gonna go back to retail. At least I was just standing there doing nothing for hours.
I know, and it's also my fiance talks about this all the time. He's always like, artists don't realize this, but more artists die from not drinking water than anything else because you just sit there and you're painting constantly, and you really forget
Yeah.
about your basic needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is like a very good idea to just get up after like maybe painting for like 30 minutes and then just dance or like do a little jig. Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Definitely. Get up and dance.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So, okay, I have two more questions left. Let me quickly see. All right. We have about half an hour left, actually, which is nice. But, I have two more questions left, but it's all right. So my next question to you is that if you could have a superpower, what would that be?
Oh, see, I would definitely, I don't know if this is actually a real superpower, but I would love the superpower of Bruce Wayne, like Batman, just being super, super rich.
Okay.
Because, like, if that was my superpower, I would definitely, like, get a house in, like, the fields and, like, just, you a bit of a, like, recluse and just have all my painting material, every single painting material that there is out there. And I would just learn oil. I would learn, like, acrylic, which I already know. But I would also do, like, gouache and just, like, do, like, sculptures and stuff. Like, if that was my superpower, I would definitely make sure I, like, knew every single type of art that there can be in the world.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
You can stay in contact with me. I can teach you so many different things if you want.
Oh, I would definitely love that. I would love that so much.
Cool. All right, Aisha. So my last question to you is that where our viewers can reach out to you or view your works? Do you have a website? Are you on social media? Please let us know.
Yeah, so viewers could actually reach me 100% through Instagram. I also have LinkedIn, and I'm working on my Patreon plus my Etsy shop at the moment. So at this point, definitely talk to me for commissions on Instagram. Talk to me about anything on Instagram, and I will get to you guys like within a day or maybe like a couple hours. So yeah.
Good. Awesome. So you don't have a website yet, but you're on all of these platforms.
Oh, definitely. I think that's like the greatest part of the modern age is you just kind of find different platforms and you're all set pretty much. It's a great modern world for artists.
Let's hope that. Let's hope that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was it for my questions. We still have plenty of time. If you have anything that you want to add yourself, any message to our viewers out there, please feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, all I'd love to say is thank you to all my friends who are watching this right now, and especially thank you to Ethel, Tati, and Nathan for being on here. Thank you guys for the support. I love you all so much. Sahara, Carol, thanks guys. And thank you again for this interview. Really made my whole year, pretty much. So I'm really happy to have this opportunity.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and coming on your program today. It was a pleasure having you, and I really enjoyed this conversation. And if you have other artist friends, please do introduce them to us. We would love to share their stories. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Louder Society. So once your video is out, you will be notified, so you would know. And then you can share it with your family, friends, or on your social media pages. Okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely will do. And thank you so much, Tara. And you have a very, very great day.
Yes.
And hopefully we can collab at some point.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will. Thanks to everyone who joined us today. Tomorrow we will have another artist stories with Stephanie Damos.
I believe her last name is. She's also a visual artist. I'm really excited to learn more about her as well. So join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock in Calgary. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Tara.
Bye.